Hello guys, this is BG Gamer and I'll be talking to you about why you should buy Guild Wars 2. There are many reasons why you should buy Guild Wars 2, and Guild Wars 2 has been the subject story for about 5 months now. There's great anticipation for the game, and I'll tell you some of the reasons why maybe you should try Guild Wars 2. Well, the first main reason to buy Guild Wars 2 is that it's absolutely free. You just have to buy the box and you can play as long as you want, as much as you want, and there's no restrictions at all. There will be obviously a microtransaction sort of thing, but you don't need to worry about that because it will just be looks and stuff like that. It won't be any items, it won't be buy to win sort of stuff. No, it will just be stuff like you can look better with a hat or something like that. So yeah, basically, you can still carry on playing your normal game like World of Warcraft or, I don't know, Star Wars, The Old Republic, and you can buy that and pay your monthly subscription fee, but alongside with that, once you get bored of that, you can play Guild Wars 2, because it's absolutely free and you don't have to pay any extra money for it. I would say that you should definitely play Guild Wars 2 without playing World of Warcraft or Star Wars, because it has great graphics, great storyline, which you can experience in any way you want. You can play it solo or you can play it with your friends. And one of the great mechanics that they have in the game is the sidekicking system, which you can get your friend to sidekick you up. If you start the game late and your friend is, for example, level 40, he can sidekick you up to level 40 and you can play with your friend. Or in the same way, if you go to a lower level, area where you want to play with your friend, the game will sidekick you back to the low level area, and you can play with your friend without ruining the experience because you kill everything in one shot. And yeah, you'll just play normally, and you can experience different storylines in that way. You don't have to create many old characters to play all the storylines available to you. Another great thing about Guild Wars 2 is PvP. I mean, once you create a character, you can play PvP from the get-go. You don't have to, get to level 80 and start playing PvP. You can create a character and straight away you can join a PvP game without having to worry, because the game puts you max level, max items. It gives you all the items, it gives you all the skills, it gives everything to you available, and it puts everyone on an equal stage. That way it will just be based on skill. It won't be based on what items you have or what items the opponent has, nothing like that. It will just be you versus the next person, and obviously it will be based on skill. The great mechanics about Guild Wars 2 PvP is that it has hot joinable PvP and competitive PvP. And the hot joinable PvP, it sounds really, for people who don't really do PvP, but actually it's quite interesting because it puts you in tournaments. It gets a few people together and it puts you in a tournament where you fight to the top, and obviously the winner of the tournament wins some prize, I don't know, some honor points or something like that. And yeah, that makes the hot joinable PvP really fun if you don't particularly want to do competitive PvP, and it makes it really fun for the casual player. Also, the competitive PvP is even more interesting because there will be competitions which can be made by players, and players can host their own PvP tournaments. There will be tournaments by the game. Guild Wars 2 will make a tournament, and I'm guessing there will be some sort of ranking list like there was in Guild Wars 1, where you can go on the website and check where you are in the world and stuff like that. So that's the competitive PvP, and there's also another quite interesting PvP, which is world versus world versus world, and that puts 3 servers on one map and they can fight against each other, and that way you can have up to hundreds of thousands of people on one map. And you think that would cause a lot of lag, but I think that the map will be put on a separate server, and that way there won't be any lag between the servers. And the world versus world will be the most epic thing ever, because you will have a castle which will be the server castle. Alongside with that, bigger guilds in the server will be able to take over smaller castles, which they will control. They will have their flags flying from the castles, and you know, different events will pop up from that. So, for example, your guild will control the left castle, and they'll have different events from the castle on the right, and so on. Another great thing about Guild Wars 2 is the dynamic events, which they totally got rid of the questing system, and instead of that they put dynamic events. And what dynamic events are basically is, how do I explain it? The dynamic events. You go there and you see a fight happening, and you can join it or you can't join it. If you join the fight, you can get rewards for finishing the fight. That's basically the quest system. So if you see a village being attacked, you can just walk down the road and carry on to the next village, or you can go into the village and help the villagers fight the people who are attacking them, pirates or centaur or whatever they are. And you know, if you don't help and no one helps the villagers and the pirates take over the village, the village is then taken over by the pirates, and the pirates start cutting down the trees near them to put walls around the village, and then the village will be even harder to take over by the players. And that just creates a feeling that, you know, the world is alive. It's not just there, and it just, you know, the creature you just killed respawns a minute after you killed it. It just puts a sense into the world that makes it alive, it makes it cool, it makes it fun, and it doesn't make you do anything you don't want to do. So you don't have to do that quest to get to level 2. You can go to the next village and do another quest, and you don't actually have to do any of the personal storyline. You can totally level up to level 80 without doing any of the personal line. But what I found cool about the personal storyline is that in World of Warcraft you just leveled up to 80, and it was just boring. And with the personal storyline, you can get up to level 80 by doing the story. So in a way, you're doing a story-based game, which you can buy for the Xbox, for example. And once you get to the level 80 by just doing the story and having fun whilst enjoying the story and the lore of the game, you get to level 80, and then you can experience stuff like dungeons, raids, even cooler dynamic events, which are called elite events, which are from 10 people plus. Yeah, and obviously you can do your PvP and stuff like that. And there's also trades, which stuff which you have to go around the world and look for them and do special events just for your class to get those trades. And I just find that really cool. So yeah, and each race and class, and you know, at the beginning of the story you have to do choices based on your class and race and stuff like that, and you have to answer a few questions, and that determines your story for the game, for the rest of the game, which decides your story baseline. And I find that really cool, because they said that you can, just in the first 10 levels, you can have 50 different, not 50 but 15 or more than that, 20 different stories to experience. So there's a lot of replayability, and yeah, and you know, you can do that replayability by creating new accounts, or you can just go and help out a friend, and the game will sidekick you down, and you can experience that storyline. And I find that really cool, because you can just play the game in the way that you want to play it. And that's what I find the coolest about Guild Wars 2, is you can play the game the way that you want to play it. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you next time. This was PG Gamer. Please subscribe if you liked the video, and like it if you liked it, obviously. See you next time.